Hello and welcome. You're watching Markets Today. I'm Sakshi Batra, and this is where we share with you everything about the stock market opening action. Well, the markets have opened sharply lower today with a sharp gap down. Talk about the Sensex, which has lost over 1,000 points right at the opening trade. The Nifty also slipping below 17,200 at the opening level as well. Of course, it's the global views. US markets on Friday shutting shop with a lower, on the negative note. Asian markets opening lower as well. Of course, there are a whole host of concerns across the Russia-Ukraine crisis, which has deepened further, and of course, the inflationary concerns and concerns over tighter U.S. policy on the higher inflation front as well. There is weakness across China as the country awaits some data as well. There's going to be some deterioration on the economic growth front, on the COVID-19 fresh cases as well. So those are the kind of data points that the investors are keenly watching. And apart from that, crude oil prices continue to remain elevated at over $100 a barrel, not providing any more respite to the consumers right there. So, keeping an eye out on all of this, and of course, a 4-day hiatus after which the stock markets in India have opened today. All these sentiments are weighing on right at the opening date. And of course, there are domestic factors of earnings disappointment, say on Infosys, on HDFC Bank. Missing the street estimates, those are the stocks that are heavily down in trade today. Let's look at the opening action and then we will delve into the details as well. And opening below 17,200 for the Nifty, down about 300 points. The Sensex nearly 57,200, down about 1,100 odd points at open. About 950 shares only seen advancing, whereas over 1,611 shares declined in the early trade. 142 shares remain unchanged. Talk about some specific stocks. It's Tech Mahindra, HDFC Bank, and HCL Technologies among the major losers on the Nifty. Infosys especially declining by 6 to 7 odd percent as well. Talk about the gainers, on the other hand, you do have a few names like ONGC, Tata Steel, NTPC, and Coal India rising in an otherwise weaker market as well. In the sectoral indices, apart from Nifty Metal, everything else is deep in the red in today's trading session. Bank Nifty also opened sharply lower below 37,000 at 36,800 and below that level as well. The broader markets also followed, reflecting the kind of sharp downward move on the benchmarks. India VIX, meanwhile, shot up 15% to regain 20 odd levels in today's trading session as well. Of course, the FII data has been disappointing yet again. They sold the shares worth above 2,000 odd crore rupees on Friday. And for the entire last week, the truncated week of three trading sessions, they sold shares worth over 4,500 crore rupees, definitely weighing on the investor sentiment as well. To offset some of the losses, DIs continued to buy. They bought shares worth 1,400 odd crore rupees on Friday's trading session. Let's come down to the details of the specific stocks that are weaker in trade right now. Infosys, the IT major, reported lower than expected earnings. The country's second largest IT services company's net profit fell 2.12% to 5,686 crore rupees as against 5968 crore rupees forecast that was on the street estimates. Revenue also growth also in constant currency terms only stood at 1.2%. EBIT margin stood at 21.5%, and they have slipped again when you compare it with 23.5% in Q3 as well. So a Q on Q decline on the EBIT margins as well. Revenue growth for the fiscal ended March stood at 20.3%. However, Infosys had guided about 19.5 to 20% kind of an Infosys growth for FY22, although it has met the guidance, but it has still been on a lower than expected side. For FY23, Infosys now expects growth to be at 13 to 15%. Attrition is the bigger problem here. 28% spike on the attrition levels, and that is something that has hurt the street estimates as well. And Infosys is declining on these weaker than expected numbers, dragging the overall Nifty IT index that's down by almost 3 to 4 odd percent. HDFC Bank reported earnings on Saturday. The private lender's profit grew 23% on lower provisions, which was a positive. Profit in Q4 grew by 22.8% to over 10,000 odd crore rupees. The provision, however, declined 29.4%. The net interest income also rose by 10.2%, or deposits growth was almost 17 odd percent. Asset quality improved as well. However, the earnings were largely in line with estimates on HDFC Bank's front. You do see some subdued movement on the stock as well. Apart from this, of course, today's focus will be on other earnings as well. Mindtree will be coming out with its numbers, and apart from that, there'll be some other small companies, including Star Housing Finance, Pharmaceuticals, DRC Systems, Mishtan Foods, so Ram Swaroop Industries. These will be the companies that will be reporting their earnings today, but a very very sharp gap down move on the markets in today's trading session. If you talk about the kind of levels that you're seeing, so Nifty 50 is down by 270 points, and Infosys is the biggest loser on the Nifty 50. Sensex has bled at the opening levels. NTPC, however, is kind of inching higher. Infosys down by almost 6 to 7 odd percent. ONGC is bucking up some trend, 1% up. HDFC Bank has shed 3% odd. So again, major contributors on both these front, Infosys and HDFC Bank, the bigger culprits in today's trading session. Gold has risen to a 5 week high with growing concerns boosting the safe haven buy. Gold has risen to a 5 week high as the war in Europe has elevated inflation and the risk of US recession boosted demand for the safe haven asset as well. Keep an eye out on the entire macro development as we will keep getting you all the other developments as we see the markets progressing from here on, and all the expert views as well. We'll keep you posted with everything that's passing on these streets, so do stay tuned. On to business today. Thanks for tuning in for now.